I'm Ethan, 26 now, but 3 years ago, my life turned upside down in ways I still can't fully grasp. Growing up, it was just me and my dad, Caleb, in our old brick house on Maple Street. Mom died when I was 6, and Dad became my everything. Coach, confidant, the guy who'd sneak me ice cream before dinner. The house was our anchor, filled with memories of late-night talks and backyard catch. When I was 14, Dad married Vanessa, who brought her twins, Mia and Max, into our lives. They were 11, quiet but polite. Vanessa seemed warm at first, always baking cookies or asking about school. I wasn't over the moon about sharing Dad, but I figured it was fine. We'd be a family, right? Things weren't perfect, though. Vanessa had this way of nitpicking. My shoes on the rug, my music too loud. She'd smile, but her words had edges. Mia and Max kept their distance, and I didn't push. Dad was happy, so I let it slide, thinking it was just growing pains. Looking back, I missed the signs. Something was brewing, and I was too naive to see it coming. By the time I was 17, living with Vanessa started feeling like navigating a minefield. She had a knack for control, always rearranging my stuff or setting rules that only seemed to apply to me. "Ethan, you're too loud," she'd say, even when I was just watching TV. Her twins, Mia and Max, followed her lead, shooting me sidelong glances like I was an intruder. I tried to bond with them, offered to play video games once, but they just shrugged me off. It stung, but I didn't want to rock the boat for Dad. He'd remarried to build a family, and I owed it to him to try. Dad, though, was different. He'd always been my rock, but now he seemed distracted, caught up in Vanessa's orbit. When I mentioned her snarky comments, like how I was too wild for her kids, he'd laugh it off. "She's just adjusting, Ethan." Adjusting? It felt more like she was carving out her territory, and I was the odd one out. I started keeping to myself, blasting music in my room to drown out the tension. I thought I could handle it, that it was just a phase. But those cracks were spreading, and I didn't see how deep they'd go. I'll never forget that evening. I was 23, just back from a double shift at the hardware store, bone-tired but ready to crash in my room. The house felt wrong the second I stepped inside. Too quiet, like it was holding its breath. My stuff was piled in boxes by the door, clothes, books, even my old baseball glove. My stomach dropped. Dad came out of the kitchen, Vanessa trailing behind him, her face blank but eyes sharp. "Ethan," he said, voice flat, "you need to leave." I laughed, thinking it was a joke, but his expression didn't budge. "What are you talking about?" I asked. Vanessa spoke up, arms crossed. "You're a bad influence on Mia and Max. It's too much chaos." Chaos. I'd been working, paying my way, keeping my head down. I looked at Dad, waiting for him to defend me, but he just stared at the floor. "It's for the best," he muttered. I begged for an explanation, but they gave me nothing. Vanessa watched as I grabbed a duffel bag, her silence louder than any words. I walked out, heart pounding, into the night. My home, my dad, gone in minutes. I was lost, betrayed, and had no idea why. Those first weeks after Dad kicked me out were a blur of couch surfing and disbelief. I bounced between friends' apartments, my duffel bag my only constant. At 23, I wasn't ready for this. Nobody teaches you how to lose your home overnight. I picked up extra shifts at the hardware store, scraping by on ramen and pride, but every quiet moment hit like a sledgehammer. Dad's face, blank as he told me to go, haunted me. How could he choose Vanessa over me? We'd been a team since Mom died, just us against the world. I kept replaying that night, searching for what I'd done wrong. Was I too loud? Too stubborn? I'd never been perfect, but a bad influence. It didn't add up. I wanted to call Dad, demand answers, but my thumb always froze over his number. What if he didn't care? Vanessa's shadow loomed larger the more I thought about it. Her sharp comments, her way of twisting things. Had she poisoned him against me? I felt like a ghost, cut off from my own life. All I had left was a flicker of stubbornness, a need to keep going, even if I didn't know where I was headed. About 6 months after I was kicked out, I was grabbing coffee with my buddy Jake when he dropped a bomb. "Heard Vanessa's been bragging about your house," he said, casual as anything. "Says it's hers now." that Caleb gave it to her. I froze, cup halfway to my mouth. My house, the one I'd grown up in, where Dad and I rebuilt the porch swing after Mom died. Hers? Jake shrugged, oblivious to the storm in my head. She's telling people they might sell it for a big payout. Sell it? My memories, my childhood, reduced to Vanessa's cash grab? Rage bubbled up, hot and unfamiliar. I'd been sleeping on couches, scraping by, while she played queen of my home. I pressed Jake for details. She'd been loud about it at some neighborhood barbecue, acting like she'd earned it. The betrayal cut deeper than Dad's silence. Vanessa hadn't just pushed me out. She was erasing me, rewriting our family's story. I didn't have proof, just Jake's word, but it lit a fire in me. I wasn't sure what I'd do, but I knew I couldn't let her get away with this. Not my house. Not like that. I was rummaging through a box of old papers at a friend's place, hunting for my birth certificate for a job application, when I found it. A yellow document, folded tight. My heart skipped as I scanned it. A deed to the Maple Street house, in my name. Ethan Harper, legal owner. I sat back, stunned, the paper trembling in my hands. Dad had signed it over to me 5 years ago, during some money trouble he'd never fully explained. He'd said it was to keep things safe, but never told me I owned the damn house. I called a lawyer the next day, half expecting it to be a mistake. She confirmed it. The deed was legit. I'd been kicked out of my own house, humiliated, while Vanessa strutted around like she'd won it. The truth hit like a freight train. Dad hadn't just betrayed me. He'd hidden this from me. Why? To protect me? To avoid Vanessa? My mind spun. I was angry, sure, but under it was something new. Power. That house was mine, legally, undeniably. Vanessa's lies, Dad's silence. None of it could change that. For the first time in months, I felt like I could fight back. Finding that deed changed everything, but it didn't make things easier. I spent nights staring at the ceiling, the lawyer's words echoing. I own the house. Part of me wanted to storm in, wave the deed in Vanessa's face, and demand answers. But another part, the part that still missed Dad, hesitated. Could I face him without breaking? He'd let Vanessa tear us apart, but he was still the guy who'd taught me to ride a bike. Love and anger tangled up, choking me. Then I heard worse. Vanessa had tried to use the house as collateral for a loan. A neighbor mentioned it offhand, like it was no big deal. My house, my memories, just a pawn in her schemes. That snapped something in me. I didn't want Dad's approval anymore. I wanted justice. But what did that mean? Selling the house? Confronting them? Every choice felt like losing something, either my past or my pride. I met with the lawyer again, laying out my options. She was calm, methodical, but I was a mess. One thing was clear, I couldn't stay silent. The truth was mine now, and I had to decide how to use it, no matter how much it hurt. I hadn't set foot in the Maple Street house in over a year, but the day I walked back in, deed clutched tight. I felt like a stranger and a king all at once. My hands shook as I opened the door. Vanessa was in the living room, laughing with some guy in a suit, probably a loan officer. Her smile vanished when she saw me. "Ethan," she said, voice tight. "What are you doing here?" "This is my house," I said, steadier than I felt. "Not yours." Her eyes narrowed, but I kept going. "I know you've been lying, telling people it's yours, trying to use it for a loan." I held up the deed. "It's in my name. Always has been." The guy excused himself, sensing the storm. Vanessa tried to recover, crossing her arms. "You're mistaken. Caleb and I have plans for this place." "No," I cut her off. "Your plans are done. I'm selling it, and you get nothing." Her face twisted, anger, then desperation. "You'd ruin your father over this?" she spat. I didn't flinch. "I'm not ruining him. I'm stopping you." For the first time, I saw her falter, her lies crumbling. I wasn't backing down. Not now, not ever. The front door creaked open mid-confrontation, and there was Dad, grocery bags in hand, looking like he'd aged a decade. His eyes flicked from me to Vanessa, then to the deed in my grip. "Ethan, what's going on?" he asked, voice shaky. Vanessa started to speak, but I cut her off. "She's been lying, Dad. This house, it's mine. Has been for years. You never told me." His face crumpled, guilt plain as day. I thought I was protecting you, he stammered. Vanessa said. I held up a hand. She said I was trouble, and you believed her. You let her kick me out of my own house. The words burned, but I needed them out. Vanessa stood silent, cornered. Dad's shoulders sagged. I was wrong, Ethan. I thought I was keeping peace. I'm sorry. Sorry. It hit like a punch, too little, too late. I wanted to hug him, scream at him, but all I felt was tired. I love you, Dad, I said quietly, but I can't trust you anymore. I turned to leave, deed still in hand. I'm selling the house. Start over without her lies. He didn't stop me. As I walked out, I felt the weight lift, just a little. 3 months later, I stood outside a small apartment I'd rented, my first real place. The house on Maple Street was gone, sold to a young couple who'd turn it into something new. The check was hefty, but I didn't keep it for long. I set up a trust, every cent locked away for my future, not Dad's, not Vanessa's. It wasn't about the money. It was about closing a door I'd been staring through too long. I thought selling would hurt more, but it felt like exhaling. That house held my childhood, Dad's laughter, Mom's old garden, but it also held Vanessa's lies and Dad's betrayal. Letting it go meant letting them go, too. I didn't hate Dad. I just couldn't carry his choices anymore. I'd sent him a letter, short but honest, saying I needed space. Maybe one day we'd talk, but not now. Standing in my new place, with bare walls and a secondhand couch, I felt lighter. The past wasn't my anchor anymore. I was building something new, piece by piece, and for the first time, it felt like mine. Freedom wasn't the house. It was knowing I could walk away and still be whole.